Dr. Lorenzo Vadino is the director of the program on extremism at George Washington University and joins me now. Dr. Vadino, thank you so much for joining us. So you just heard some of the videos that were posted on TikTok that show people siding with Osama bin Laden and saying they understand why he orchestrated 9/11. Those videos were posted on TikTok. Is that the problem here, the app itself, and how could this be happening in our country?
Well, this is a combination of factors at play. I think what we're seeing and what we're seeing on college campuses is the fact that Hamas and other Islamist groups that hate America, hate Israel, have long created networks of supporters and sympathizers in American academia. A country like Qatar that hosts Hamas has endowed chairs at American universities. So this is not something organic that we're seeing all of a sudden. It's part of a long engineered plan. I think this strategy of influencing the American public debate, and particularly younger generation, has become more successful recently because American college campuses have become awash with critical race theory and post-colonial studies, and in general, the narrative of oppressed and oppressor. And I think a lot of people are projecting this sort of twisted American political discourse to the Middle East in ways that make little sense, are very ahistorical. Yeah. So it's sort of the perfect storm. I think when you add to this combination the fact that apps like TikTok, which have algorithms that are skewed by design, have been disseminating this kind of messaging. There's been studies that show that for every one TikTok video that is pro-Israel, there are 52 that are pro-Palestine or pro-Hamas. I think that the line is at time blurred. You put it all together and you can see why we're having what we're experiencing on college campuses.
Yeah. Dr. Vadino, at time that line is blurred, and you have to wonder what the leaders of Hamas and the regime in Iran right now are thinking when they see these protests taking place across the United States right now.
Well, they're loving it, and they've actually been expressing support, and in a way that is almost funny if it really wasn't. They have been calling on American authorities to not crack down on protesters, to be democratic. This coming from the Iranian regime, who has been killing for years hundreds and thousands of students who've been protesting for freedom and democracy. They're basically using what we have been told them to do and saying that America is doing the same and actually worse. And obviously there are people on platforms like TikTok that make the equivalence and argue that America is doing the same, if not worse. So it's really a twisted dynamic that we are seeing online. Right. But obviously, what entities like Hamas and Iran are enjoying is the fact there are divisions in American society, and they hope that leads to decreased support of Israel.
Yeah, well, you wrote a fascinating piece in the Wall Street Journal following the October 7th terror attack titled "How Hamas Won Hearts and Minds on the American Left." And you talk about how what's happening on college campuses right now was actually a plan implemented by Hamas some 30 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, this is, the op-ed I wrote is based on FBI documents that actually based on raids of Hamas supporters and leaders in America. Hamas has had a long history of a presence in the United States dating back to the 1970s, and there's been investigations and trials. So those documents yield an amazing picture of how this very sophisticated network had long planned to infiltrate the American public discourse. So it's not just universities, it's the media, it's civil society, the interfaith dialogue, with the idea of course, packaging a narrative that is pro-Hamas in ways that are more palatable to an American public. So within their circles, they're going to talk.
Right. Now, you mentioned in the piece that a Hamas leader told a Vice.com journalist, he mentioned George Floyd when trying to get Western ears and Western support for the pro-Palestinian, at times pro-Hamas cause. It's a very interesting piece. You're a very smart person, and we thank you so much, Dr. Lorenzo Vadino, for joining us this morning. Thank you.